encourage Muslim women through community service, personal development, and philanthropy. Many don't realize the effects of stress and how it plays and what it does to our body. Stress, especially chronic stress, can actually kill brain cells and reduce the size of our brain. So many of us don't even know that this could be a possibility or that it's possible. The way we choose to deal with stress is entirely up to us. I would like to introduce our speaker for this afternoon. Her resume was amazing, mashallah. I looked through it, it was phenomenal. So I'm so excited to actually be introducing her here. She has a master's degree from Nova Southeastern University in mental health counseling. She's worked at Al-Azhar School. She's their behavioral therapist. She was their behavioral therapist, and she's currently at Memorial Healthcare Systems, and she focuses on family and group therapy. So if we could all please give Natasha a warm welcome today.
All right, thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. I'd like to thank MWO first and foremost for giving me the opportunity to obviously have this seminar, because stress is so very important. We all experience stress in different ways in our life, so I'm just going to give you some stress management tips and help you to understand stress more thoroughly, as well as some things that I use on a daily basis to cope with stress. So, like Sister Shireen had mentioned, I actually work at Memorial Healthcare System, but I'm also working still. I went back to Al-Azhar School and I'm at GSA, Garden of Sahaba Academy. So I'm at both the schools doing behavioral therapy with the kids. And I'm also at Memorial, I'm doing family therapy with adolescents and children, as well as I go into the family and in-home, so it's in-home family therapy. So the first thing is, I also did my internship at Susan B. Anthony Recovery Center, which is where I work with people who suffer from substance abuse issues, mothers and children, and things like that. So if you have any questions regarding my background or my educational experience, you can feel free to ask at the end. Inshallah, we'll have a question answer portion. So I would like all of you to get to know one another. Let's all get acquainted with each other. So who's familiar? Are you all familiar with each other? I see some different ages, different faces. I don't know if you all are familiar with one another. So what we're going to do is I want you to introduce yourself to the person sitting next to you. If it's to the right or to the left of you, wherever you're sitting, say your name, say one thing about yourself. this is such a funny like situation because I'm going to teach a stress management seminar, but I'm extremely stressed myself. So let me do some deep breathing. I put some Quran on in the car, and I was like, all right, everything's gonna be okay, inshallah. You know, public speaking, sometimes you get nervous, right? And all eyes are on you, and everybody's expecting you to deliver. So we have this one thing is called acute stress, which is what we're going to talk about right now. But before we begin to talk about acute stress, I want you all to, with the pieces of paper that you received, everybody received a piece of paper and a pen? Okay, so on your sheet of paper, we're going to do a stress assessment, okay? And on that stress assessment, it's a few slides, so bear with me. I want you to write the number associated with the events you've experienced in the past year. Then total the number of points assigned to the items you've experienced. So go ahead and jot down, if you've experienced any of these in the past year, jot down the item and the number associated with it. Okay? And we'll give everybody a chance to do that. And then you guys can tell me the next slide, because we have a few slides for the assessment. Yes, you have to write down the number. The number is the most important thing, because what we're going to do is we're going to add up all of the numbers at the end to see if you have it's a low number, a medium number, and a high number. With that number, there's an associated, it tells you if you are going to have a chronic stress-related illness, if there's a high chance of you getting a chronic stress-related illness, or an acute stress-related illness. All right, so I'm going to go to the next slide. Is everybody done with this slide? No? Oh, okay, so basically you're gonna, on the sheet of paper that you received, you're going to add up you're gonna write down what you experienced in the past year. So if you, for example, experienced a major change in financial state, you're gonna write that down along with the number associated with it. Okay, don't forget the number. That's really important.
Is it only for past year?
In the past year, yeah. I'm going to change to the next slide. Is that okay? Yeah, something that so you achieve something. If you achieve something in the past year.
Okay.
Is everybody done with that slide?
What is the reading of personal habits?
What was it? Is it on the curriculum? revision of personal habits. So if you changed some things that you were doing on a daily basis, and you changed up your habits, let's say you weren't exercising, but now you're exercising, or different things, sleep habits, eating habits. But I know there's a different category for sleeping here as well. Is that what you do? Yeah. That was for 24. Even like personal, like hygiene and things like that. Anything for habits that you have. Okay, so this is where you're going to tally up all of your points. So if you have your phone, you can pull up the calculator app on your phone and add up what's your total number of points that you got.
Can you show the first slide again?
The first slide? Sure. It's the first slide. Did anybody get above, less than 150 points? Anybody? Okay, good. All right, anybody got 150 to 300, medium risk? Anybody who's in the high risk? I was in the high risk. Yeah? Anybody else? How many people are high risk?
I have less than one.
Okay. All right, so my number was like 315 or something like that. I was in the high risk, but alhamdulillah, I have not developed any chronic or high risk related stress illness. So how did you guys like that assessment? You liked it? Did you learn something new about yourself? Okay. So this is a quote from Yasmin Mujahid. I love her quotes. I love her book. It says, "Our problems are handpicked for us. Never think that they are an oversight of God. Our obstacles are given to us to teach us to climb. That tidal wave you experienced last week, it was sent because you needed to learn to swim. The most difficult people and situations in our life are designed by Allah to teach us something or to develop a quality we need to grow." So now there's a difference between, there's three different kinds of stress that I'm going to talk about, and that's going to be on the next slide. But the difference between eustress and distress. Has anybody heard of eustress before? Yeah? What is eustress? I know, but you explain to me. I know it's right in front of us. What is it? Layla? Eustress. Okay, so eustress is the positive form of stress. Has anybody heard that there's a positive stress? Yes, eustress. And there's distress. So eustress is positive. It energizes. It's generally short term. It can improve performance and believed within coping mechanisms, something we can handle. So for example, a eustress strength performing activity, or if you're doing strength-based training at the gym, right? It's helping you, it's positive, but it's stressful on your body, but it's not a negative stress. It's good for you, it's a good kind of stress. Distress is generally, it feels unpleasant. Often depletes our energy, it's short-term or long-term. It decreases our overall performance. It's perceived outside coping mechanisms, something we cannot handle, and it can lead to physical illnesses, mental fatigue, and emotional depletion. Now this is the negative stress that we're going to be focusing on today, is the distress that we feel in our lives. Factors contributing to our stress levels. As we talked about, the 3 famous types of stress. So there's acute, chronic, and eustress. So who knows, I'm going to constantly ask you guys questions. Does anybody know the difference between the 3 kinds of stress? I know we just talked about eustress, but what about acute and chronic? Which one's the most dangerous kind of stress? Yes.
Well,
What's the dangerous, the one we don't want?
I don't know.
Chronic. Chronic stress is what we don't want, okay? Acute stress is what we usually typically come across in our daily lives. For example, you have a test coming up. For example, you have a deadline at work. For example, you got into an argument with a significant other or with a family member, right? These are short-term stressors. But chronic stress, the difference is that it's a long-term, it's been happening for a while. And that's why I asked you what happened in the past year. Because those significant factors, if they happen in the past year and it's continuing, for example, like a change in financial state, right? Maybe somebody lost all of their assets, they lost their home went into foreclosure, they don't have anything, and now they're close to being homeless. That's a big change, right? That's gonna lead to a chronic stress-related illness. And what does chronic stress-related illness does is it has an effect on our blood pressure, on our sugar level, on our eating, on our sleeping, on our diet, it can lead to heart disease, it can lead to stroke and heart attack. It has so many different things. Within our gallbladder, our intestine, everything is related. Stress can trigger all of that. So I'm now going to talk about some stress and trials. Sometimes we get affected with a stressful event and we ask us, why is Allah testing us, right? Why is this test happening to me? Why is this trial happening to me? Why me, right? But it's how did you react to that situation? How did you manage the stress? So, acute stress, let's go in and talk about that first. Acute stress is known as the fight or flight response. Who knows what fight or flight is? Okay, I have some giveaways. So what I'm going to do is, when you guys answer, you participate in my questions, I'm going to throw something out at you. And I hope you all can catch. All right, so acute stress. Who knows what fight or flight response is? There's also fight, flight, or freeze. Okay? If you could tell me where does the flight or flight response come from?
Fight or flight is your initial instinct when you don't know how to handle it. You just want to run away and escape the situation.
Right, exactly. So, good job.
No.
Catch.
It's going to be bad.
This is a stress ball. I'm handing out stress balls.
Okay.
So it's the body shifting its response towards fighting off a life-threatening threat. You know, like for example, somebody's coming up behind us, and what do? If somebody's about to attack you, what are you going to do, right? But your brain, it's from your autonomic nervous system, right? Your brain is thinking, all right, should I flee? Should I freeze? What should I do, right? Should I fight them? So that's all from your autonomic nervous system. So that short temporary stress that we feel, for example, meeting deadlines, or that test that we have coming up, being stuck in traffic. How many people have, who has road rage in here? I do. Right? Road rage is also something that will get you upset. That's an acute stress. So let's on the brakes to avoid an accident. Give me some other examples of acute stress. Something that you guys experience on a daily basis.
In-laws?
Huh?
In-laws.
In-laws.
That's
Yes.
chronic. Is that
In-laws, marital difficulties, that is also, but yeah, that is a lifelong stressor. So that's how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? Who in here has been able to find a solution to manage that stress? Patience is good, but also self-care, right? Self-care is very, very important.
Or ignore.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to get it
so
down?
much?
Alright, everybody can see me? Self-care. Why is self-care important?
Because it prevents the body from being
Yes. If you don't practice it on a daily basis, if you constantly put it off as, oh, I don't have to take care of myself, whether I was talking to a friend earlier, I don't have the time, right? I don't have the time to take care of myself. But you have to make the time. Because if you don't practice self-care, you're going to lose it in every aspect of your life, in work, in family, in friendships, in relationships, in social life, everything. You're going to lose it because you're not coming back. That's your anchor. Your self-care is your anchor. What makes you happy? If you're constantly giving yourself to everybody else around you, right? You're constantly giving yourself to your family, and then you're making time for your friendships, for your relationships, for everybody else, but where's the time for you? Right? So what is one thing that you can do on a daily basis to kind of keep you grounded? Does anybody practice self-care daily? Good. What do you do?
For the past year, I started doing yoga at least 20 to 30 minutes a day, and that really helps.
That's good. Very good. What else?
Deep breathing.
I do exercise. I started exercising,
Good.
and I incorporated, that I've been for taking care of myself, that energy will just come across. It's very important, you have children, you have to.
Yes. And when you exercise and when you do yoga, you're releasing endorphins. Endorphins are also happy chemicals. They make you happier, right? So there's the oxytocin that we talked about. We did the hugs earlier, right? So then we also talked about, now we're doing endorphins. These are all the great chemicals. And I'm going to introduce you guys to the bad guys, the bad chemicals, okay? The chronic stress, okay? The acute stress and the chronic stress. The chronic stress is the constant stress that is accumulating over a long period of time, and it's being impacted by our everyday stressors. It can have a negative impact on the mind and body, which can lead to many health issues like we talked about. If not taken care of properly, and you can increase your risk for hypertension, heart attack, or stroke. Some physical symptoms of stress can include ulcers, high blood pressure, arthritis, heart problems, skin conditions such as acne or eczema, and symptoms pertaining to mental and emotional effects, including irritation, lack of focus, anxiety, and depression, to name a few. Okay? So you guys don't want chronic stress, and you want to do everything in your power to be able to make sure that you're not on your way to developing a chronic stress-related illness. Okay? Now we're going to talk about the chemicals. There's two chemicals. There's DHEA and cortisol. Who are my biology people? I can pick them out. Who knows about DHEA and cortisol?
We've read about it.
Yeah? Okay. Which one's the bad guy?
Cortisol.
Yes. Cortisol is the bad guy. DHEA is located on top of our kidneys in our adrenal glands. And I want you guys to pay attention because we're going to have a pop quiz. Okay. All right. So it's located on top of our kidneys in the adrenal gland. I cannot pronounce the full name of DHEA. We're just going to use the abbreviation, okay? It's affiliated with stress because it can help with those suffering with chronic stress or depression. When DHEA levels increase, our stress levels decrease, okay? So DHEA increases, stress levels decrease. It's the most common hormone in the body, okay? Similar to DHEA is cortisol, which is also found in the adrenal glands. Where is it found? Adrenal gland. Where is that though? On top of the kidneys, right. It's also important to stay hydrated, right? So it's good to stay hydrated. Make sure you're drinking your fluids. Make sure you're exercising. Because what happens when you exercise? Endorphins. Endorphins are released. Good. I'm going to just stop quizzing you guys. Cortisol is secreted in the process of the body's fight or flight response. Fight or flight comes from which kind of stress? The acute stress, which allows the body to think quickly and rationally. High levels of cortisol increase, our stress levels increase. Okay? So you want to decrease your cortisol. High cortisol is not good. You want to decrease your cortisol levels. So the good thing is that DHEA is the most common hormone in our body. And DHEA, the more DHEA there is, the less stress. Okay? Cortisol is involved in regulating blood pressure, proper glucose metabolism, immune function, and inflammatory responses. When cortisol is released, chronic stress takes place. When DHEA oversees cortisol, so it kind of balances it out, okay? So that's the good thing about DHEA. It's kind of like the savior to save us from developing very quickly chronic stress-related illnesses. When the brain perceives a situation to be challenging or threatening or uncontrollable, the brain initiates a cascade of events through the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, HPA, okay? What was it called again? Adrenal axis, HPA. You guys can say the abbreviation, I won't be hard on you. HPA, which signals the increase of cortisol. So, how to decrease cortisol levels? That's the question, right? You don't want to have cortisol levels because remember, increased cortisol means increased stress. Start with diet. Who has changed their diet in the past year? Who has started eating healthier? What are some things that you've changed?
A lot of juicing.
A lot of juicing? Good. That's something I want to do too. I haven't started that yet. That's good. How did you start to, what made you get there? Was this health issues?
Basically, getting healthier, you know.
Yeah.
But then stress, all of that, when you do supplements, the juicing,
Good.
all together.
And what benefits has come out of juicing? What have you noticed?
I do feel healthier when I juice, but I haven't lost any weight.
Okay, it's okay. What about the mood? What about your stress levels? Do you feel less stressed by eating healthier?
Yes, I do. I mean, I feel better, in a better mood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else who's also fruits and vegetables? Good. So you're having more of a pyramid type of diet. You're following the whole pyramid. That's good. Anybody else?
I limit my carbs.
Good. Who's avoiding starches and fats and sugary substances? Oh, good. That's good. I like to see that. Is anybody drinking 6 to 8 glasses of water a day? And what have you noticed about that? Your skin? Yes. Your joints?
More hydrated urine.
Yes. That's true. Good. Oh, I should be passing out. Okay, I have things to pass out. Who answered? You answered. I won't. I have stress balls and I have lollipops. Who also answered? You answered a lot. That's good. You answered too. Ooh. All right, so that's enough. Fruits right now. All right, so stay hydrated, eating regularly, drinking waters, adding more fruits and vegetables, proteins and fiber to your diet will decrease your cortisol levels. Drinking water, staying hydrated, exercising, increasing your sleep, getting creative, relaxation activities which include mindfulness and meditation, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. Today we're going to focus on mindfulness and meditation. Now, like we mentioned, this is going to be a 3-part series, inshallah. So we're going to talk about different things in the next seminars, but today we're going to focus on these 2 things. can go home with practicing mindfulness and meditation, I will honestly be the happiest person. And gratitude. We're also going to talk about gratitude and how important it is to keep a gratitude journal and do mirror work. So all of those things are to come, inshallah. So we talked about acute stress, eustress, and chronic stress. There are biological and chemical components. Now somebody had mentioned, we mentioned some social, family, work relationships, marriage, friendships, and social media. What are some things that you guys have experienced as the most stressful out of these factors? What has been the most stressful for you? Work? Okay. Work?
The political situation in my country.
The political situation. Okay, that's good. That's like kind of environmental and social as well. What else? Social. Okay, so all of these aspects underneath social. Any specific one that's been very stressful? Physical. Okay, so health-wise, health conditions. Okay. All right. So now I want you guys to visualize all of your stressors in your life. Looking at this list, visualize them. Put them in front of you if you want. Okay, you can put them in a bubble. Put them in a box. You can label them. Okay? Once you've visualized all of your stressors, I want you to choose one stressor that you're going to work on in the next month to manage. You're going to work towards it much better. Let's say it's a family situation, right? Let's say you get into arguments with a family member quite often, and you just don't know, and they cause you a lot of stress, and you just don't know, how do I deal with this family member? How do I deal with this stressful situation constantly? What am I going to do? I want you to visualize, and I want you to actually take action now and implement it into your life. Okay? Has everybody chosen a stressor that they're going to work on? Okay, so by the next seminar, inshallah, which is March 16th, March 16th, I want you all to come back, and I want you to share how you manage that stress, with that stressor. Okay? All right. So, like we did, we were throwing out stress balls. Now it's pop quiz time, okay? So what two chemicals are located in what organ that we talked about? Yes.
B? Okay. BADA and cortisol.
Okay, good. Oh, that was a good catch. All right. What is the chemical that, if it is high, it contributes to stress-related disorders? Cortisol. Oh.
I can't go to
All right. What are the three different types of stress that we discussed? No, you already got a stress ball. Oh, you did it? Okay, never mind. Okay, say it again. Okay. All right. Which stress is known for the fight, flight, freeze response? One person said. Yeah, all right. Name three factors that can contribute to our stress levels. We talked about. We just went over the factors. But under which categories? You know how we talk social? Huh? Physical? And chemical? Okay, good. Perfect. You guys did good. All right, so how do I relieve my stress? And this is the part where we go over mindfulness. There's going to be a part where I'm going to have to sit down because I'm going to be doing an activity with you guys. I won't be sitting as of the end. Okay. So, mindful or mindful? Okay. I liked this picture because it shows, this is typically how our mind usually is. We have a full mind. We're not very mindful of where we are. How many of us, when we, let's say you're going on vacation and you're in the most beautiful place, you're on your social media and you're Snapchatting and then you're just like this, oh my God, look, I'm taking videos, I'm taking pictures, and then it's like, oh, okay, now we gotta go. You know, we were already here for a while, and were you mindful or were you mindful? Your mind was full. You were there in the moment, like physically, but you weren't actually there mentally, emotionally. We are so obsessed with having to show people what we're doing. We're so obsessed with having to let people know what's going on in our life, constantly updating them on our life, letting them know, all right, what am I wearing? What am I eating? What am I doing? Whatever I'm doing, right? So it's constantly our mind is full. We have to be more in the present moment, right? How do you bring yourself into the present moment? And this is a practice that our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ practiced all the time. I recently just went and I came back from Umrah, Alhamdulillah, less than a month ago. And I saw the cave of Hira, where Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to always climb. It literally takes you 4 hours to climb up to the cave of Hira. Okay? Who's been and seen and actually did the climb? Anybody did the climb? How long did it take you? 2 hours? Oh, okay. Oh, all right, that's good. And then the guide was telling us I couldn't go because I went with my parents. We couldn't climb all the way up. But 2 hours, that's excellent, you know. But still a long time. Would you climb 2 hours? Let's say it's to the top of a building. Would you climb 2 hours?
No, because I was looking forward for the
To go see, yeah. Would you do that on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis to do 2 hours for mindful climbing? That rocky mountain, was it hard to climb? It was good to climb, right? And that too, you had steps, right? He didn't have steps. He had rocks, you know, and he would go there and he was mindful of everything around him. And subhanAllah, it was just to see how tall the mountain was, like, it was mind-blowing for me. Because I couldn't believe that he would actually do this. And then Khadija radiallahu anha would bring food up for him, up until that mountain. A woman, right? Us, we probably wouldn't even have the ability to do that. Like, yeah, okay, you're going to go up there. When you come down, there'll be food waiting for you at home. Okay, I'm not climbing that mountain for you. But that's what they did, that love that she also had for him too. That mindfulness that he practiced and the gratitude that he practiced on a daily basis. Why is it that we're supposed to follow the Quran and Sunnah, right? The Sunnah is so important because Prophet Muhammad, all of these therapeutic practices that are in our present day books, right? Islam teaches it all. It was the first therapy that was ever introduced. It was the Prophet Muhammad's life. What he did and what he practiced on a daily basis, that is what we should follow. That's the utmost therapy we can ever get. So the quality or state of being conscious or aware of something, or a mental state achieved by focusing one's awareness on the present moment, as well as calmly acknowledging and accepting one's feelings, thoughts, and bodily sensations is used as a therapeutic tool. Okay? Anybody here has practiced mindfulness before and like felt the spiritualness that you get from it? Yeah?
I went on January 5th, there's a nice class going on, the same teaching training program, and it's a very good class. They teach with also with the oil and all the things, you know, and it's very
Great.
It's like a breathing, yoga,
Right. Exactly.
and
We're
it's
gonna get
very
into
good
that
for the
too.
kids. They showed us for the kids, you know.
Right.
While you're teaching, and Alhamdulillah, I learned a lot from
Yes.
this.
Alhamdulillah, that's really good. Yes.
I feel like I don't do it too consciously, but one place, when I go to the beach often, I just feel like that's a very easy place for me to take a moment and just absorb my environment and then practice mindfulness.
Right.
But it's usually that environment helps me get there.
The environment. What about if you're in a very stressful environment? How can you be mindful of a stressful environment?
Yeah, you should inhale, exhale, and
Breathing in. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an activity, okay? I'm going to teach you guys deep breathing. It's called 4-3-4. There's tons of activities, tons of ways you can deep breathe, but this is called 4-3-4. How that works is you're going to breathe in on the count of 4, You're gonna hold for 3 seconds and breathe out on the count of 4, okay? So I'm going to count to 4, you guys are gonna breathe in slowly, and I want you, as you breathe in, to feel the air going into your lungs, expanding, okay? It's taking in that air. I want you to just blank out your mind, blank out everything. I like to do this with eyes closed. If you could close your eyes and get into your own moment, you know, breathe in slowly, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, hold, 1, 2, 3, and release, 4, 3, 2, 1. I want you to open your eyes, and I want you to look around you, and I want you to notice 5 things that you see in this room or around you, on you. 5 things that you notice. Maybe things that you've never noticed before. And I want you to notice 4 things that you feel. That it can include the shirt on your back. That can include the jewelry that you're wearing. That can include your feet on the floor, resting on the floor. That can include the chair you're sitting on. Whatever you're holding in your hand, the pen that you're holding, the stress ball that you may be squishing. 4 things that you feel. Now 3 things that you hear. Include the sound of breathing. Can include my voice. Can include the soft music playing in the background. Can include the air conditioning. 3 things that you hear. Two things that you smell. And if you are in the front row, you'll probably smell the nice aroma coming from the candles. If you're in the back, you smell your food. You know, you may smell your perfume that you're wearing, or whatever you're wearing. You smell something. Smell the person next to you. Maybe they're wearing something. You know, 2 things that you smell. And 1 thing that you taste. Could be the delicious sandwiches that we ate earlier. Could be just saliva in your mouth. Could be gum that you're chewing. 1 thing that you taste. Now I often do this with my clients to get them grounded. Okay? Grounded, not that they're being punished, not that kind of grounded. Grounding. Grounded meaning you're able to become more aware of the present moment. And grounding is a mindfulness exercise as well, which we're going to do at the end. But being mindful, this is something that you can do as a 5-4-3-2-1 technique. I had a client the other day at the school, and the kid was really upset. Okay, he didn't want to talk to me, and I didn't know why he was upset. But what I did was I just pulled him to the side. I said, you know, hey, you want to talk about anything that's bothering you, anything that's going on? And he said, no, everything's fine. No. I was like, okay. I was like, how about you tell me how you're feeling with the color? What color are you feeling right now? And he's like, I'm feeling orange. If you're feeling orange, what is orange? How does orange feel? He's like, angry. It's like, oh, so orange is angry for you. What's sadness? What color is sadness for you? He said, blue. I said, okay. And what color is confusion? He said, red. And I said, all right, so right now you're feeling orange. Are you feeling any other feeling right now? He's like, a little bit of red too. I was like, okay, how about you look around? What do you see? We were sitting outside. And I said, look around and you tell me 5 things that you see. He took a moment and he 5 things that he saw, 4 things that he felt, 3 things that he was here, 2 things that he smelled, 1 thing that he tasted. And then after I said, do you remember what you were angry about? He's like, no. I was like, exactly. Because that That's the beauty of mindfulness. Is that he didn't even remember what he was angry about. He actually did it. And I could see as I was looking around to see who was doing the mindfulness, who was doing the deep breathing. There are some of you who are doing deep breathing, some of you who weren't. I was looking, some while I was doing the mindfulness, some were still wandering eyes, like looking up. And even when I was asking them what do they taste, and they're looking up, you know? But it's, you taste it in your mouth. But I could tell some people were still not being mindful. I want you to actually implement this into your daily life because it is life-changing. These are the stress management techniques that you have to practice on a daily basis. It may seem silly. It may seem, oh, well, you know, why do I need to do this 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, oh, whatever. What's it going to do? 5 things. I see an exit sign. I see a window. I see a lady in a chair. I see a camera. Okay. How is that going to help me? It is. Because it's going to make you more present in the moment. When you're at work and you're stressed out, you become more present in the moment. What are you feeling? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings associated with that thought? And how can you change that? How can you manage those thoughts? Right? If you're feeling upset, you have to do something about that thought then. You have to do something about that feeling. So once you become more aware of it, that's the first step to changing your habit. We get so caught up in our daily lives and our habits that it just becomes routine for us. We have to start making that active change. Now I'm going to show you guys a mindfulness video I have. Okay, this is by Yaki Institute, Omar Suleiman's Institute. It's
Based on an
wonderful
article
video
I
on
just
mindfulness.
encountered. What if there's a simple way for you to control your brain in all aspects of your life? Whether it's being able to overcome procrastination, or being able to focus better in your prayers, or just improving your overall quality of life, both spiritually and temporally. The fact is, there is a way to be in control of yourself, and it's backed by both contemporary science and Islamic tradition. You may have heard of the concept of mindfulness. It's a mental state of self-awareness achieved by focusing on the present. Think of a straight line. One end represents a state of being unmindful. This is where you react to your thoughts and emotions in a knee-jerk fashion and let them control you. If something makes you angry, you just get angry. If you feel lazy, you just don't bother doing anything. On the other end of the line is the state of mindfulness. This is where you have the ability to choose to follow or not follow your thoughts and desires. Basically, you will control your actions. If something makes you angry, you don't just react. If you're feeling lazy, you're able to overcome it. Studies have shown that practicing mindfulness decreases stress, emotional reactivity, depression, and anxiety, while improving memory, focus, and personal relationships, and increasing empathy and compassion. There are many different types of mindfulness practices, like meditation, but we'll get to that in a moment. Mindfulness in the Islamic context is very similar to something called muraqabah. Achieving muraqabah means being in a complete state of vigilant self-awareness in one's relationship with Allah in heart, mind, and body. Basically, being in the state of muraqabah means knowing and finding peace in the fact that Allah is always watching you at all times, both inwardly and outwardly, and consequently developing greater attention and care for your thoughts, actions, feelings, and inner states of being. Done right, muraqabah has a twofold result. In this world, you will be able to reach a state of calm and contentment. And in the next world, you will be able to achieve a state of eternal calm and joy in paradise. Muraqabah is a means to reach the highest spiritual state in Islam, ihsan, or spiritual excellence. Ihsan is to worship Allah as if you see Him, back to that state of self-awareness. So how can we actually achieve the states of muraqabah or mindfulness? For that, we have to understand how they're actually practiced. Remember when we mentioned meditation? Meditation is a practice in mindfulness, and there is secular meditation and Islamic meditation. The difference between the two can be traced back to the 4 aspects of muraqabah. According to renowned Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani, muraqabah is realized in number 1, knowing or being aware of the Almighty. Number 2, knowing the enemy, Iblis or Satan. Number 3, knowing your soul's capacity to suggest evil or being aware of yourself. And number 4, knowing the deeds to be done for the sake of Allah. In secular meditation, the purpose is to achieve mental strength and well-being by being aware of one's own heart and mind. In other words, just number 3 of the 4 aspects of muraqabah. In Islamic meditation, the purpose is to achieve both mental and spiritual strength and well-being by being aware of all 4 aspects of muraqabah through a holistic Islamic framework of Islamic mindfulness. However, achieving number 3, being aware of your heart and mind, is also emphasized on its own within Islamic tradition as well. The Prophet ﷺ was known to regularly observe periods of silence and seclusion in order to cultivate presence or the mind's quiet awareness of here and now. Our righteous predecessors practiced several forms of meditation to enhance their acts of worship, prayer, and remembrance. Ibn al-Qayyim, for example, details 7 different types of meditation. And Al-Ghazali recommended 4 distinct daily spiritual mindfulness practices, including supplication, remembrance of Allah, Quranic recitation, and deep contemplation. The idea is that a balanced spiritual life depends upon different acts of worship and meditations for complete sustenance. So how exactly can you become a more mindful Muslim? According to As-Suyuti, you go through 4 different stages of thoughts before you put something into action. The first one, al-hajis, is a sudden fleeting thought. Then comes al-khadir, which is a thought you actually give attention and consideration to, followed by hadith an-nafs, which is that inner dialogue you have when you seriously consider acting upon that thought. And then finally, al-ham and al-azm, which refers to the decision you make to put that thought into action. The key is to become more aware of the distance between a thought, feeling, or emotion and the reaction to that thought, feeling, or emotion. Realizing that there is a distance gives you the time to control your reaction to it. Here's a mindfulness exercise for Muslims that actually puts all of this into action. Step 1, choose a time of day, a quiet, secluded area, and a comfortable posture for yourself. Step 2, focus awareness on your natural breathing and progressively relax the muscle tension throughout your body, in your arms, then your legs, then your core, then your jaw. Slowly settle your state of heart and mind by feeling the life and energy Allah gave you throughout your body. Step 3, perceive the feeling of muraqabah. Know and feel that Allah is watching you. Silence that inner dialogue. Focus on being with Allah in the present moment. When you get distracted, recite the remembrances of Allah. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Verily at times there is a fog over my heart, so I seek the forgiveness of Allah 100 times a day." Remember that the act of meditation is repeatedly bringing yourself back to the state of muraqabah through the remembrances of Allah, or dhikr, until it becomes a natural habit to be in that state. Dhikr is your calming anchor. If done regularly, the mindfulness exercise will allow you to have an easier, more natural presence in your prayer, strengthen your mental and spiritual muscles, provide stress relief and relaxation, give you better focus and attention, increase you in empathy and compassion, and most importantly, it will allow you to gain control of your thoughts, desires, and emotions. You'll notice your thoughts as they begin to appear, which will give you enough time to decide to act on the good and dispel the bad. See, we may not always be able to change what happens to us in life, but we can change how we experience it and react to it. Modern science has proven that mindfulness exercises yield a number of health and wellness benefits, even in a non-religious context. These insights can be synthesized with Islam's own rich tradition of meditation to produce practical, contemporary techniques that cultivate Islamic mindfulness, enhance worship, and enrich our quality of life. Remember that God knows what is in your souls, so be mindful of Him.
Who liked the video? Did you learn a lot? Yeah, that was a very good video. Like I said, it's from Yakin Institute. You can check it out on YouTube. Just type in Yakin Institute mindfulness video. I know it's a lot of information, but it was a lot of new information. I didn't even know about. I thought mindfulness in Islam, but I didn't know there was so much context regarding mindfulness in Islam. So some of the prophetic tradition that we talked about. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would always retreat to the cave of Hira, like I mentioned before. He somebody else. Write down for your teacher, for somebody, and give it to them. See how it makes you feel. And they did it, and they're like, Miss Natasha, that was like, it was really nice. You know, my teacher was so happy, and, you know, made me feel really good. I was like, do you know why it made you feel really good? They're like, because I did something for somebody else. I said, exactly. So these are all ways, even when we're stressed out in our lives, we also have to remember and be more mindful that there's also other people who are stressed out in their life, right? We're always so focused on me, me, me. Unfortunately, we have this selfish mindset of me. What's going on with me, that's what matters most. But what about the others around you, right? So once you're more mindful, not to say be more mindful of your thoughts and take care of you, but also taking care of others and helping somebody else out can help relieve your stress. That's exactly what Prophet Muhammad would always do, right? And that small act of smiling at somebody, it can make a person's day. When I'm just feeling upset or whatever, and you know, sometimes you're just grumpy, you're going to Publix, you gotta get something, you know, just don't want to talk to anybody. But that one person who just looks at you and smiles, you know, this one old lady comes to you, I really like your scarf. I'm like, oh, thank you so much, you know, and she smiles at me, gives me that compliment. I'm like, thank you, like, you know, it really makes your day. And then I walk out of Publix like happier. I'm like, oh, that's nice. You know, she liked my scarf. I thought it was, you know, she liked it, so maybe it is a nice scarf, right? But it makes another person's day. So we should practice that on a daily basis as well. He practiced deep breathing, obviously with his mindfulness, and gratitude on a daily basis. He also gave advice, like I mentioned, talking to somebody, giving them gifts, whether it's telling them some nice compliment. These are all ways to practice that mindfulness and releasing that oxytocin. Give a hug to somebody, remember? He maintained a healthy and intimate relationship with Khadija radiallahu anha and the wives who followed after her, and that's very important as well. When I say healthy in communication and intimate physical relationship as well. He exercised. He would do activities such as archery, running, swimming, horseback riding. So these are all the sunnah sports. And to go and partake in those things, you know, learn we should live a life like Prophet Muhammad did. Eat healthy foods. He ate dates, barley, wheat, and milk often. So these are all also sunnah foods that we can also incorporate into our daily life. Like I mentioned, fiber was one of them that we mentioned, right? That decreases cortisol levels. And he ate these kinds of good wheat and barley and these kinds of things that have lots of fiber in them, these nutrients. And he praying as a form of yoga. So I was reading an article the other day that said that it incorporated, I forgot, I think it was like New York Times or some big or Huffington Post article that was saying how Islam, like our 5 daily prayers, a lot of our prayer, yeah, exactly, a lot of the motions of praying, exactly, it's like yoga, they're yoga poses, right? Especially sajda and things like that. So it's just, subhanAllah, it's amazing because, like I said, Islam is our first therapy that we should write. So our homework assignment that I would like you guys to do, so the next seminar on March 16th, is to create a gratitude journal. Now that means you think of, it takes 21 days to form a habit, right? Do you all know that? It takes 21 days, scientifically proven to form a habit. So, if you work this month, 21 days starting today, to build a new habit, maybe gratefulness is your habit that you want to build, or mindfulness could be your habit, or meditation incorporating a new self-care activity. Build that one habit and bring it back that day, inshallah. But I also want you to practice 3 things. Have the attitude for gratitude. The attitude for gratitude is 3 different things that you're going to be grateful for those 21 days. Can you all do that? Write them down on a sheet of paper. You can write them down, but jot them down every day. 3 different things. It can't be the same thing. My family, my friends, my health. Okay? Not that. I want you to honestly think about, I am grateful for the shoes on my feet. I am grateful for the nose that I breathe through. I am grateful for my cat. Okay? The little things, the littlest things, I want you to think about what you're grateful for. Not just so broad. Everybody says the same thing when I work with the kids or when I work with my families. What are you grateful for? My family and my friends and grateful for my family and my money and my food. You know, that's great. That's alhamdulillah, we're grateful for these things. But dig more deeper. Be more grateful for those tiny things. Once you start picking out those tiny little things that you're grateful for, because imagine, if I say I'm grateful for my pinky finger, right? What does my pinky do? If I lost my pinky finger, my life would significantly change. Would it or would it not? It would, right? I'd have to adjust doing things the way I did. I'd have to adjust the way I cook. I'd have to adjust the way I drive my car. I'd have to adjust the way, in every aspect. Who would have thought that I'm grateful for this one finger that Allah blessed me with? Because there's some people who don't have this finger. And there's some people who don't have the ligaments that I have. And some people who don't have the blessings that I have. So dig deep and think hard about it and write them down. Just 3 things. It'll take 5 minutes a day, inshallah. There's another thing that I talked about was mirror work. And this is also another thing. Why I'm telling you guys, I mention my clients a lot because this is what I use in therapy with my clients, and they've worked, right? And alhamdulillah, like I get clients who text me months later and they tell me, Miss Natasha, thank you so much. I just got a text the other day. I was working with the kids during the Stoneman Douglas shooting, right? The kids who experienced that trauma and that heartache and losing their friends during that time. And she texted me now. You know, she texted me a week later. I worked with her in February, and I know the 1-year anniversary of the shooting is coming up. She texted me now. She's like, hey, Miss Natasha, I just wanted to say, like, thank you for everything you've done and the techniques and activities that you taught me, because I started utilizing them in my daily life, and, like, my life has significantly improved. And I'm not putting credit to myself. I'm putting credit to Allah because He gave me the opportunity to be here and to do this, what I'm doing, right? I'm not tooting my own horn or anything. I'm just saying that these practices are very important for us to incorporate. Like I said, they're silly, they're small, but they're so impactful. Yes?
Do you work with Muslim kids only or just Christian kids?
I work with all kinds of kids.
In the public school system?
In Memorial, I work with families. I work with kids who have like very difficult
And
situations.
when you use these Islamic techniques on Christians who are not Muslims?
No. I use therapeutic techniques.
So you just generally treat them?
Yes, exactly. And then with the Muslim kids, because I'm doing part-time at each place, I was full-time at Memorial, but now I'm part-time because I like to have that holistic aspect, that well-rounded aspect, that I get to work with the non-Muslims, and I also get to work with the Muslim kids.
Right.
With the Muslim kids, I use Islam in my therapy. So it's more like I use secular and also spiritually based practice. With the non-Muslim kids, I just use therapy, but I also use that. I ask them, what is your faith? You know, because when we do the intake, and they say, you know, I don't really have a faith. And I say, okay, but do you believe in a higher, you know, anything? Because that also, especially if you're using different therapeutic approaches such as solution-focused brief therapy, you basically give the power to the client, right? But the client has a higher power. So they use that in their therapy. So that's why I always ask them, is there a higher power? That client I'm talking to you about with the Douglas, she was Jewish. So when she needed help with whatever she needed help with, I said, you know, what would God? You can just say God in general. You don't have to say, what is your God's name? You don't have to say Jesus. You don't have to say anything. You just say God. Do you believe in God? I do. I go to church sometimes. Okay. So, you know, they use that as an anchor for them. So, and they prefer to as well. But you can feel it out with your clients as well. If they're atheists, for example, and you don't want to use God, you know? So you kind of feel it out. No problem. Mirror work, like I mentioned, is something that you look in the mirror every day, daily, right? Everybody looks in the mirror probably 10, 15 times a day. You look in the mirror. Maybe you're even walking past, you go into the bathroom, you see yourself in the mirror. You look in the mirror and you are grateful for something. You tell yourself those 3 grateful things. What are you grateful for? And there's even a dua for when you look in the mirror, right? So become more mindful of that. Start saying the dua, and that's first and foremost a reminder to myself, because there is a dua, I don't know it. Does anyone know the dua for when you look in the mirror? Allahumma? Something like okay, maybe we'll look it up, inshallah, next time. Maybe I can bring that in, dua for when looking in the mirror. You can even Google it. Inshallah, but that's something that you can become more mindful of, is I'm looking at my beauty, and alhamdulillah, and thank you Allah for blessing Lord, thank you, Allah, for blessing me with these new clothes. Thank you, Allah, just being grateful. That's gratitude, and it's mindfulness, and it's mirror work. So as you say those three aspects of those gratitude, those three things every day, look in the mirror as you say them. Okay? That's also another thing that you can.
The meaning of the dua, like all the subhanahu wa ta'ala, the way you make me, give me the etiquette, also the good look,
Give me the etiquette and the
Yeah, give me the sira, like how I'm looking, make me beautiful, and give me the good
Character. It's all like make my appearance
beautiful and
make my character.
my faith.
Could somebody look that up for me while we're doing it? Make my appearance beautiful and make my character beautiful.
Yeah.
Make my body beautiful, so beautify my character too. Make my body beautiful, so beautify my, not make it. You've made my body beautiful, so beautify my character too.
Yeah,
Since you already made my body beautiful. Perfect. Okay, very nice. Beautiful dua. Inshallah, we can all implement that dua in our life. One more thing that I also do is, actually two more things. A gratitude jar. Has anybody ever done a gratitude jar? So those three things that if you want to write them down, you can write them down and you can place them into a jar. That way you can use that throughout the year. Those 21 days, 21 times 3 is 63, right? You're going to have 63 things in a gratitude jar. It could be a small mason jar. And what you're going to do is drop in those small things that you're grateful for. When you're feeling down, when you're feeling stressed out, go ahead and look in that gratitude jar. Go ahead and see what are you grateful for to remind yourself that I'm grateful for these things, that I have these blessings in my life. Alhamdulillah for that. Last thing is when you get into an argument, for example, with a family member or with a significant other or with a friend or anything, you can have a a bag, like brown paper bag, and you can write each family member's names on it, okay? And when you are upset with them, you get into an argument or a fight or whatever with that family member, instead of being angry, you write a nice note of what's the nice thing that they do. Maybe you just always get into a fight with your brother. He's the most annoying person in your life, and he always eats your food, okay? Okay. And let's say he's always eating your food, and you just get so mad because you saved that sandwich for yourself and he ate that sandwich, okay? You're angry. But instead of writing that angry note of you're just such a chubby little kid, why do you eat so much, Instead of writing an angry note, write a nice thing. Remember that time when he made me a birthday present, and it was just the sweetest card that he wrote to me? Remember that time when just things that you're grateful for about your little brother or big brother or who knows, whatever, about that family member, write nice things about them, drop it into that bag, okay? Now that person, it's not only going to change how you feel, you're not going to be angry anymore, firstly, because you're writing down grateful things about that person. And I once did that when I got into a little argument with my sister. I started writing down good things about her. Sisters usually tend to butt heads sometimes, and that's how sisters are. You get into an argument with her, and then jot down some nice things about her. And then you're like, what, she's not that and she always thinks about me. She sends me stuff on my birthday. She loves me a lot. She always FaceTimes me and thinks about me. So I kind of miss my sister then, right? Then you start thinking about all the good things. Where does that anger go? It's gone. Where is that acute stress that you just experienced? It's gone, right? Because you put gratitude and you are mindful of the situation. You put those into action. So that's another thing that you can do, inshallah. 10 ways to manage stress. Avoiding caffeine, fatty foods, and nicotine in stores. Let's stay away from drugs as much as possible, unless it's prescribed to you. Indulge in physical activity. Get more sleep. Try the relaxation techniques that we are now going to go into our meditation. Talk to someone. Keep a gratitude journal or stress diary. Do mirror work. Partake in community service and giving to others. Take control. Learn to say no. I put that because that's what we're going to talk about in the next seminar. Empathy and boundary setting are two things that we're also going to cover, because those are also stress-induced. When we don't set the proper boundaries with people in our lives and we don't know how to say no, then we become to put on more on our plate than we can handle. And manage your time wisely. Okay, so I like this Charlie Brown quote that says, "A smile on my face doesn't mean my life is perfect. It means I appreciate what I have and what I have been blessed with, and I choose to be happy." All right, and 3 things, remember gratitude, meditation, and mindfulness. And continue to do the deep breathing. Let's do one more 4-3-4 that we did earlier. So I'm going to count to 4. We're going to breathe in. We're going to hold for 3 seconds and release on 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 3. 1, 2, 3, and release 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, now let's all relax. So what we're going to do is I want everybody to get relaxed in your seats. Please make sure that your feet are placed on the floor. Your hands are on your lap or however you're comfortable. Okay, make sure you can rotate your head a little bit, release the muscle tension in your shoulders. Relax a little bit. Let's turn this up. Can everybody hear the calming music? But I don't want it to go over my voice. Can you guys hear my voice and the music? Yeah. Okay. Is the music calming for everyone, or should I shut it off? It's calming? Calming. Okay. So I want you all to relax. If everyone can close their eyes.
Just a little lower.
A little lower.
Thank you.
If everyone can please close their eyes and relax. I want you to take a deep breath in. Release. Keep your eyes closed, please. I want you to just not think about anything. Completely blank your mind out of all thoughts. If you can see a black space, just look at that black space. I want you to imagine a staircase. The staircase can be any kind of staircase you want to make it. It can be a marble staircase. It can have jewels on it. It can be a wooden staircase, concrete, whatever makes you feel safe. You can add railings on it. It can be made of gold. Beautify your staircase. And this staircase is going to have 10 steps on it. As I count down, I want you to slowly take a deep breath in and out as we climb down the staircase. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Before we reach the last step, take a deep breath in. 1. Now you see in the room that you're in, there's a chalkboard. You walk over slowly to the chalkboard. You pick up a piece of chalk and you write the number 3 times. 3, 3. You're going to write the number 2 3 times. 2, 2, 2. You're going to write the number 1 3 times. 1, 1, 1. Now you see a door behind you. You turn around and you open the door. And this is going to take you to your safe place. I want you to imagine one place that makes you happy. either a place that you've been before or a place you've been wanting to go. But this is going to be your safe place. You open the door and you've entered. See what you see around you. Notice the feeling that you feel. Notice if there's people around you. Notice what you smell. Notice what you taste. Notice everything that you see around you. Take in the beauty of that place. Now, as you look over, you see there's a small laboratory off into the distance. This is your own laboratory, so you can go in at any time. It can be made of glass, it can be made of wood, it can be made of metal, whatever you like it to be. You walk over slowly and you open the door to the laboratory. Inside you see a lot of machines. Notice what that looks like and what does that feel to you? You see a machine with your name on it. You walk over slowly. And the machine will give you one thing that you want right now. One thing that's causing you stress in your life. Now your stress will be relieved. What is that one thing that's going to relieve your stress? If you're going through financial difficulties, maybe money will relieve your stress. If you're going through marital issues, maybe happiness and calmness in your relationship will relieve your stress. If you're going through any kind of difficulties at work, with your boss or with your coworkers, maybe happiness and contentment and being able to deal with situations that are thrown at you, maybe that will relieve your stress. If your children are causing you stress, whatever it is, think about what you need to relieve that stress. Take it from the machine and walk out of your laboratory. Unlock the key, and now you return back into your safe place. And you walk back into the room that we first entered into. And now you've taken what you needed, and you see the chalkboard. Pick up the chalk and you write the number 1. You write the number 2 3 times. 2, 2, 2. You write the number 3 3 times. 3, 3. Now you walk up to the stairs, slowly taking deep breaths as you walk up your staircase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Before we get to step 10, take a deep breath in. 10. Whenever you're ready to leave your safe place, you may open your eyes. How was that? Did everybody have a visual imagine? Did they imagine a safe place, or was it some people not able to do so? Was it hard for them? It was hard for you. Okay. Why did you find it hard? Was it you weren't able to detach, or
It's because when I'm trying to concentrate, my mind wanders.
okay? so you weren't able to stay mindful in the moment. Okay. Did it cause them stress as I was doing it, or was it relaxing? It was relaxing. Okay. Who wants to share what their safe place is? Was it a place that you've experienced before, or a place you want to go? Oh, okay. Very nice. Okay. And how were you feeling? What did you notice?
I noticed people
What was your stressor? What did you need from the machine? If you can share, if you don't want to share, you don't have to share.
What's something personal?
There's something, okay, good. Was anybody that they want to share what they got from the machine that they needed? I know a lot of them are personal, but
No, mine was bringing more energy flow towards my business. More money, energy flow. Money towards my
good.
business.
How did you feel walking out after getting what you needed and then walking out? Did you feel fulfilled at all? Or were you kind of like, did you leave it there? Did you leave it in the laboratory?
I didn't. I took it out and I put it in a place that I relaxed at. I put it in the water.
Okay. All right, so you kind of let it go.
I let it go.
Okay.
I let it go so it could come to me.
Okay.
Come back to me. So
Okay. No problem. Everybody has a different imagination, right? Everybody does it differently, so that's completely okay. So I'm glad that you all had I'm glad you all had a good experience with that. This is a guided meditation that I typically do with my clients just to relieve stress. This is a relaxation technique. Once again, that's something that you can't do on your own. You can close your eyes and go to your safe place. Now that you've already created that in your mind with me, now you can go there anytime. But you can't typically do it like you would have to have somebody guiding you if you want to go do something else. You know, because it's hard for the imagination to take you there. The last thing that we're going to do is do we have how much time do we have? Okay. So there's one phone challenge that I wanted to do. Deactivating one social media account for 1 month. I actually did not more stress than it will. It is stressful because you feel like you're not being kept up to date with everybody in your life, right? I did that with Instagram, and I slowly did it. Like for example on Snapchat, I made it more like not so not public. I don't have it in public, but more private in a sense, right? So I'm trying to slowly, probably gonna get out of that slowly too, and that's slowly Facebook. But it's like I felt such a cleanse just getting off Instagram. I was like, wow, I don't care about everybody's pictures anymore. Like I don't care to see what they're posting in their life. Like it really was a cleansing for me. Because what it was doing was it was so toxic for me to constantly see, oh, this person's going here, and this person's wearing this, and that person's doing this. And then you feel bad about yourself. Because then you're like, oh, but what about me? Like, I don't have those pretty clothes, and I'm not going to these pretty places, and and then you start to get upset, right? And I'm like, why am I getting upset? Like, I'm happy for this person or for that person. Good for them, and then I make a feel out of my heart that, like, I don't want you protect yourself from that anger or that jealousy. Like, I feel like it can bring about, especially evil eye, very quickly. We don't know we're doing it, And you look at that person without in your head. I'm like, oh my God, I looked at this girl and I didn't say Allahumma barik. I don't say mashallah. I say Allahumma barik. May Allah bless you. That's the sunnah. You're supposed to say may Allah bless you, not mashallah. Mashallah doesn't protect that person, right? So then in my head, I was like, I didn't say Allahumma barik. Like I have to say that so that I don't give that other person evil eye for this vacation that they went on, or for those clothes that they were wearing, or whatever it is, right? But that's what social media was doing to me. And it was toxic for me because I felt like I was being toxic for others. You don't want to be toxic for others or for yourself. So it's better to just get off of it. Does anybody want to take that challenge?
I think it's more important to manage your time and use it in a positive way because on social media,
That's true.
you can do positive things.
You can, yes.
Like you can follow scholars, you can, there's positivity. Like I listen to Gandhi, I listen to all these scholars. It's in revolting because it's easy access to social media, so it doesn't have to be negative.
Yes, not a negative.
You can use it in a positive way.
Yes. Facebook for me is that way. Like that's why I haven't gotten on Facebook as of yet, because I follow all these scholars, these videos, and I love them. Because I wouldn't have found this life on this video if it wasn't for Facebook. You know, so these different organizations and things like that, that's great. But Instagram, what I noticed for me, and this is once again me personally, for me it was toxic. Even though I followed so many Islamic accounts, and I missed that aspect of seeing the Islamic videos that I would see constantly in the quotes and hadith and ayahs and things like that. But it was still so toxic because I was seeing more so of other people's lives, and I didn't want to see that. So it was having a counter effect on me. So I took out what was feeling, for me, was toxic. I took that out. But she is exactly right. Social media can be beneficial for some because it can be a really good, it can tie you in and keep you connected to those whom you love and, show you beneficial
see
things.
people enjoying life and you can be happy for them.
Yes, you can
instead of
be happy.
having negative energy from
Right.
that.
Yes.
If they're wearing
Yes, exactly.
good clothes or having
Right.
a good vacation, you can say, wow,
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. Instead of
In that sense, that I'll say protect them because you could say, oh, that's really nice. Like I would feel happiness for them, but at the same time, I would still bless them in their happiness. So always make sure that you make love for that person who's experiencing that happiness. Setting a daily time limit on your phone usage. That's also a good thing. That's something we can all do. And texting a different friend or family member each day for 2 weeks with words of gratitude. Maybe that's a new challenge that we can all partake in. Keeping in touch with people, not just on social media, but actually taking the time out to keep in touch with somebody. Saying, hey, how are you doing? Haven't spoken to you in a while. How is everything going? Right? Or call them. Because a call can make a world of a difference, right? That you're like, oh, I haven't talked to this person in a while. How are you? I just miss you. I miss you hearing your voice. And that would really, really make a difference, right? It's good to keep connections. What to expect in the next seminar. So there's something called a topic solution that I'm going to go over. I don't know if we're going to do PTSD and anxiety and depression. I don't know if we're going to do that in the maybe in the third one. How empathy and boundary setting can relieve stress. That's Dr. Renee Brown. I'm going to go over that. More interactive activities and stress relief tips. And then we're going to try to do the Islamic perspective of stress by Sister Rabia Khan, inshallah. And then at the third one, we will probably do Dr. Aisha Subhani, inshallah. Do you all have any questions?
I have one question about Saudi lately is fasting or intermittent fasting and how it makes your body release the hormone that makes you feel better about yourself and happier. Is this confirmed scientific? That's the first question. And the second question is the breathing technique. I don't know if you know. It's a man who's called the Iceman. He puts himself into very hard situations where it's very cold, where nothing, he just go into ice, and he managed to breathe in to control the release of hormones like adrenaline, for example. Do you think this is something that could be done by regular people? Is this a practice that would help with stress?
I've never actually heard about the Iceman or anything of that sort. I would honestly, so if I don't know, I always tell the person to do more research because I don't want to give you a wrong answer. And it's out of my realm, out of my scope. If I can do more research on it and get back to you, inshallah. And the first question too, I don't know that much about intermittent fasting. I've heard about it, and I know a friend of mine did it and lost an extreme amount of weight from it, and it was a great life-changing experience. But I don't know actually that much about it. So sorry. Yes.
Do you do one-to-one private sessions?
Yes. Oh, yeah. I also have business cards over here if you guys want to take any business cards. And the last thing is I wanted to do, I forgot that I had one more activity and I had it out here and I didn't get to do it. But I don't know if we have enough time. Do we have 15? Do we have enough time? No. 4 minutes. Okay. Should we do, or should I'll save it for the next seminar. You guys like that? Okay. Do you think we did enough activities today? Are you all satisfied? Because I did have that one more, but you can do it, save it for the next one. Sound good? It was.
Ask you a favor.
Sure.
The activity that we did, the relaxation, could you record it and send like audio to everybody so we can do it?
Yeah.
Do you have a recording?
Yeah, we can put it on our webpage.
Okay, sounds good.
Facebook site. Okay.
The one that we are going to, inshallah, do at the next one then is called progressive muscle relaxation, inshallah, and then the grounding exercise. I know I mentioned that earlier. I'm going to do grounding with you guys, but we'll do that the next one. So that way you keep you guys coming, to the seminar. Okay. And yes, I have the wrap. Please.
Get a lot of questions from women that call. So just 3 terms that always come up in all my calls to women. One is permission. When giving themselves permission, they usually want somebody to tell them when you go rest, when you go so like the ability to parent yourself with permission. I think is like putting in priority in your life.
Right.
Like,
So
are you going to address that in the next?
I could. That's a really good topic, and I'll write
Right off the biggest one is guilt. Guilt.
Guilt. Okay, I'll write that down.
Okay, I wanted to thank all of you. I wanted to thank Natasha for being here. We've learned a lot from you. I have. We'd like you to encourage you to come back March 16th, please, for the second part of the seminar, and then we're going to have a third part as well. We want to thank you guys for spending your Saturday afternoon with us. Please don't forget to do your homework for the next seminar that we have, which is March 16th. And please fill out the questionnaires that you have. It helps us with future programming, what you like, what you don't like, what you want us to continue to do. I also wanted to thank ISFS, our volunteers that helped out with food, Nyla, Fika, Shabina, Saida, and Shanaz for all the food. And if you'd like to donate for future events that we have too, and future seminars, we really appreciate your donations. Thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you March 16th.